procrastinated on the thing that I know that I need to do. And then in comes the inner critic. Then maybe you start beating yourself up on why you seem to always procrastinate or why you can't seem to do the thing. And then you're scrolling on social media and you see that somebody else has already done the thing, or you're comparing your life to what theirs looks like in their highlight reel. And then the inner critic just like starts going in the brain. And then some form of either collapse or fuck it, or I'll start tomorrow. And then the cycle repeats. We're back, baby, with a brand new season of the It's Fucking Spiritual podcast. Join us each week as we have unfiltered conversations about how to transform your life. Our mission is to usher in a new era of spirituality where you don't have to be all love and light to live a life of alignment. Here, we honor all of it, the profound and the profane, the magic and the messy, and all things that make you human. So let's discuss the truth behind transformation and be unapologetic in our evolution. From manifestation to money, embodiment to energy, and all taboo topics, nothing is going to be off limits. Are you ready to live a life that feels just as good as it looks? Let's get fucking spiritual. Hey, what's up, my friends? And welcome back to another solo episode of the It's Fucking Spiritual podcast. Are you guys liking the solo episodes? I had polled y'all on my Instagram stories, and it was overwhelming, the amount of you that were like, we want solos. We like the solos. And honestly, I missed this. So I'm really digging the solo style, shorter, pack a punch, although sometimes I do talk. I can ramble for quite a while, but having those like shorter, succinct, give you nuggets of wisdom, you and me hanging out kind of vibe. And so we're bringing it back. We are going to be doing a lot more of the solo episodes on the remainder of this season, which the season is indefinite. We don't have an end date. We're just going to keep going with a lot of the solos. And today we're going to be talking about something that has definitely plagued me in my life. It has come up for a lot of my students, and I'm also assuming it has come up for a lot of you. And that is, why do you keep procrastinating even though you know what you should do? Is that something that you've dealt with in your life? You procrastinate on the really big tasks, even if you do some things that are like around the task that you know you need to do, and it kind of lets you feel productive, but you have really big dreams, you have really big goals, big aspirations, you can see it in your mind, you visualized it, and yet there's a part of you that keeps procrastinating. And maybe there's some really good reasons for that procrastination, right? That like seem like really compelling reasons. Like, I don't have enough time. I have a regular job that I have to tend to, and I have kids, and I have a partner, and I'm traveling, or whatever. Whatever the excuse is, typically it's some version of I don't have the time. I'm already so full, have so much on my plate. How am I ever going to find the time to follow my dreams and to do the big things that I want to do? And I want to talk about that today. We're going to keep this episode short and sweet because I'm kind of digging the shorter style episodes, and because I'm about to leave the house. I film in my house, if you guys didn't know that. I'm about to leave the house and go get certified in holographic sound healing. That's a side note. That's something that's going on in my life that I've actually procrastinated on for a long time. I have been talking about, well, if you don't know, I've been a singer all my life and have loved it. But in my 20s, really over the last decade, I gave up singing. And it was my first love. It was the thing I loved as a child the most. I loved to be expressed. I loved to perform. And I gave up singing because I wasn't going to make a career out of it. And something that I'm really committed to doing this year is bringing that back in more ways than one, not just playing. I play guitar and piano and stuff, and not just doing that, but also like, can I learn other things? Can I expand my mind? Can I progress in this area? And can I just follow what lights me up for the fuck of doing it? Just to do it because it's something that I want to, and not because I'm going to like make something about it or make money about it. So I finally stopped procrastinating, learning sound healing, which is what I'm going to do after I wrap up this episode. So maybe I'll post about it and share that with you guys once I am certified after these next 4 days. But anyway, okay, let's get into the content of the episode. So you procrastinate. I get it. You're not alone. Many, many people procrastinate. And maybe for you, it goes something like this. I have a big dream. I have a big goal. I have an aspiration. I know what I need to do. I know what I want to do, but it seems like it's a huge mountain to climb. And maybe you do some things that get you closer to the goal. So let's use business for an example. Maybe you want to start your own side hustle. Maybe you have a side hustle and you have really big plans to make it your full-time thing. Or maybe you have a full-time thing that you've created and yet you really want to scale it, but you're staying in your comfort zone, right? And it looks like there's this huge mountain to climb. And you do the tasks that are kind of around the big eat the frog needle moving tasks, right? Like, oh, like send some messages here or there. Like, oh, maybe post about it, when I feel like it. Oh, like research about it. Chronic over researcher here, anyone? I can Google about it. I listen to podcasts about it. I take courses about it. I listen to YouTube videos about it, but I'm not actually about being about it and doing the thing. And so then there's some form of procrastination that comes in because you have a big vision, you're really excited about it, and then life happens. Then, the dog throws up on the carpet or you get a flat tire and then the day seems shot. So then it's like, oh, well, I'll start again tomorrow. And then all of a sudden you realize, shit, I've procrastinated on the thing that I know that I need to do. And then in comes the inner critic. Then maybe you start beating yourself up on why you seem to always procrastinate or why you can't seem to do the thing. And then you're scrolling on social media and you see that somebody else has already done the thing, or you're comparing your life to what theirs looks like in their highlight reel. And then the inner critic just like starts going in the brain. And then some form of either collapse or fuck it, or I'll start tomorrow. And then the cycle repeats. You get 2 steps forward, you get knocked 1 step back. And maybe that looks like your cycle. I know that's something that was really real for me and has been real for a lot of my students. And if it's not that cycle, what is your cycle that you go through? When you procrastinate, what happens? Do you end up numbing out? Do you end up scrolling on social media? Do you end up overindulging, overeating, overdrinking? Do you end up watching Netflix? Do you end up constantly on the phone with your friends instead of actually doing the thing that you know that you need to do? What does that look like for you? And then what is the voice in your head that comes in after you procrastinate? I don't know. Let's just bring some awareness and some light to it, right? Because we can't change what we're not aware of. So step 1 is being aware of it. But then we have to be like, okay, Rachel, I'm aware of my thing. I'm aware of what I do. How do I get out of it? It feels like life is always just going. And maybe you feel like, gosh, is this it? Like, I know deep down I'm meant for more than this, but where do people find the time? Where are people able to like actually do the thing? And what I want to share with you today, hopefully it'll give you a little bit of a sense of validation, a sense of knowing that you're not alone. That's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, is because I wanted you to feel seen, heard, and less alone. I'm not up here being like, I have it all together and I have it all figured out. And, I've checked all of the boxes and I've done all the things and now I'm completely healed and I'm coming to you from this fully healed place. I'm in it with you. Yeah, I've healed a lot. I've healed a lot of these patterns. There's no way I would be able to show up week after week after week, or show up for my programs, or show up for my students, or show up for myself if I hadn't healed to a certain degree. And the reason I'm able to talk about this is because this has been me in my life in many ways. And I'm still human. And it still comes up for me. And I still have my inner critic. It's like, oh, you could do more. But it was until I learned what that actually was that I was able to stop beating myself up about it, or recognize the voice as not my own when I was beating myself up. And I was able to actually start to come back into more wholeness, more grace, more ease, and come back to that with practice over and over again. So, what is procrastination and why is this happening? So when we're a little kid, right, you are like fully expressed. You are unapologetic. You just say what you want to say. You express what you want to express. And somewhere along the way, many of us pick up some form of, I am not enough, I am unworthy, or I will be abandoned if I am my true self. And what that ends up doing is it severs us from the truth of who we really are, which is our fullest expression. One of my biggest missions in this life is to not only come into full sovereignty for myself and come into full trust of my own expression, but also to help you liberate that within yourself. Because I believe that when we come back into wholeness, when we as a collective, and that starts on an individual level, when we come back into self-trust, when we come back into self-sovereignty, and when we come back into fully expressing ourselves, we'll heal the world. And when you were a child, probably had something happen, or many, many, many micro moments happen that severed you from the connection with your true essence, with your true soul. And when that happens, that leads to some belief of like, I'm not enough, or I can't express as I am, or I can't be myself, or I have to take care of everybody else. I can't be who I am. Therefore, it's not safe for me to be me in the world. And out from that, we create parts of ourselves that protect us from feeling that deep feeling of I am unworthy, I am not enough. And there can be many, many protector parts. We talk about these in my program, Expand. Side note, if you want to get on the wait list for that, go to the show notes because we're going to be running around another round in July, learning how to identify all of our different protector parts and working with them. But one of the protector parts that comes up is the procrastinator. So we either learn to be a perfectionist, we learn to be a procrastinator, we learn to be a controller, we learn to fawn and people please. Maybe we learned all of those. Hello. I have a lot of different protector parts in there, as I'm sure do you. But procrastination simply is an adaptation to keep us safe. So it's not your fault. And it is your responsibility to learn how to work with it, to learn how to give it grace, to learn how to understand what it's protecting you from. If you feel deeply connected to this episode, if you are ready to step into the expanded version of you, if you are ready to learn how to reparent your inner child and repattern the ways that you show up in the world, I'm so excited to officially announce and invite you to my upcoming in-person retreat in Austin, Texas, in August 22nd to 26th. There are 2 different style tickets with 2 very different price points. So I really tried to cater to everyone to make it accessible for you to come. Check it out in the show notes. We have a VIP that comes, stays in the house, has all meals included. We're all staying together. And then there's also an immersion style where you come to the location every single day. And I cannot wait to be in person with all of you, to get to heal together. There's so much that you can do and collapse time when you are held in sisterhood for 3 to 4 days and allow yourself the space and time to really go into your inner wounding, go into your blocks, go into the things that are holding you back and learn to actually somatically repattern them in your nervous system. That is what we are going to be doing at this retreat, so that you can plug back into the true you of who you really are and leave as the expanded woman that you know that you were meant to be. And it's called the Expanded Women Retreat. I didn't say that. But anyway, if you are feeling called to join us, tickets officially went live. So go check that out in the show notes. And hopefully I will get to meet you and give you a huge hug in August. So typically, if you procrastinate and then you fall into some sort of bullying yourself or criticizing yourself, recognize that that inner critic is just another part of you that's trying to, again, protect you, to get you to do the thing. But think about it. If you were to bully a little kid, why aren't you doing the thing that you should do? Well, you know that you should be doing this. What is wrong with you? Whatever that inner voice sounds like, basically, what is it protecting you from, this inner critic, when it comes up? So instead of beating ourselves up and allowing the inner critic to run rampant when we procrastinate, instead, can you turn toward the procrastination? What I mean by that is like energetically and get curious about it without shaming yourself, without blaming yourself. Can you get curious about it and ask yourself, procrastination, what are you protecting me from feeling? What are you here for? What purpose are you serving? What are you afraid would happen if I actually did the thing? And wait for the answer. Because the problem is your procrastinator part isn't the problem. It actually really isn't a problem. But your procrastinator part is protecting you from something. And what you'll find when you ask yourself those questions is you'll actually reach the inner child underneath. You'll reach the fear. You'll reach the part that feels unworthy, that feels afraid, that feels scared. What happens if I'm seen? What happens if I build a business and I fail? What happens if I've never actually seen anything through before? Am I even capable? What happens if I let my heart be seen? And when you start to get in touch with that part, you can begin to feel the feelings of it. Because the thing is, your inner child just didn't get to feel the fear. And this is a process. It's a process. And it's the deepest process that I know that has brought me back to wholeness, is understanding the different parts of myself and learning how to work with them. And the step one of this work is learning how to feel safe in your body, learning how to regulate your nervous system when you fall into freeze, which is a byproduct, or freeze in the nervous system is what creates procrastination, because we get frozen. So when you learn how to work with the nervous system states, and then you learn how to work with the inner child fears that are actually running that state and creating that state, then you learn how to get unstuck. Then you learn how to, bit by bit, create forward momentum. And the more that you begin to heal, the more that you begin to repattern, all of a sudden you start taking action. Then from that place, you're gaining confidence. And then all of a sudden you're creating momentum, and an object in motion stays in motion. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I look back and I'm a completely different person and a completely different version of myself. So there are many, many steps to this process. You got to regulate your nervous system. You got to release the feelings that are there. You got to reparent the inner child. You got to rewire your body, repattern your nervous system to be able to hold the thing that you're calling in. And then you get to rise into your next level of greatness. And you'll naturally rise as a byproduct of you healing those inner child wounds. And that is all of the steps in the process that I take people through in my course, Expand. And if you want to, go learn the first step of this process, which is regulating your nervous system. I'm going to be hosting a free 3-day event, June 25th through the 27th. So definitely join us. It will be free. And I'll be talking all about how to regulate your nervous system, how to get yourself unstuck, out of freeze, stop procrastinating, so you can begin to start healing those parts of yourself and actually begin to take massive action in your life. Because it's not enough to hear someone be like, you got to take massive action. You got to take massive action. It's like, yeah, well, you can't when your nervous system is stuck in freeze. So that's all well and good for somebody that can just, that feels alive and great and I can clear and, and I could just take action from there. But if your nervous system is dysregulated, you can't hear your intuition. You're being run by your inner child. You're being run by your chronically dysregulated nervous system states. And step one is learning how to create safety in your body and to regulate your nervous system. so that you can actually begin to repattern from a place of safety and wholeness. So join us at the end of June for Regulate, the free 3-day nervous system workshop. I would love to have you there. And of course, if you want to get on the wait list for the next round of Expand, where I take you through the full 6-part process, please do so in the show notes. And I hope that this episode made you feel like you're not doomed, you're not alone, you're absolutely destined for the greatness that you feel within you. And this is just happens to be the missing link to be able to take those massive steps forward that you desire and deserve in your life. Okay. I love you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the It's Fucking Spiritual podcast. I am so glad that you're here. And if this episode resonated with you, I invite you to share this with a friend that you feel needs to hear it. And if you are really feeling the love and support for this show, this podcast thrives off of your listens and your reviews. So I would love if you could leave us an honest review. We would love to hear your feedback, your thoughts, your questions, and it helps us get this podcast in the hands of more people and would mean so much to me to receive your support. So thank you.